A Macy's store just closed its doors for the last time. A Walgreens location suddenly sits empty with store closing signs still hanging in the windows. Another Rite Aid has everything on the shelves marked down as liquidation sales sweep through the aisles. And that's only scratching the surface of what's unfolding quietly across neighborhoods and malls from coast to coast. In today's video, we're diving deep into 12 major retail chains that could disappear far sooner than most people realize. What makes this list hit different is that these aren't obscure brands fading into history books. These are names millions of Americans still drive past every single week, stop at on their way home from work, or rely on for everyday needs. Their signs are still brightly lit, their parking lots still see traffic, but behind the scenes the foundation is shifting faster than it appears on the surface. And what's worth remembering before we even begin is that most major retail collapses don't happen overnight. They happen one store, one customer, and one habit at a time. By the time most people notice, the transformation is already well underway. A familiar sign disappears, a parking lot grows emptier, a shopping center becomes quieter. Those changes happen so gradually that people barely register them, until one day they drive past a place they visited for years and realize it's simply gone. Number 12. Walgreens. Imagine walking into your local Walgreens for something as simple as cold medicine. Instead of grabbing what you need and heading to the register, the first thing you notice is locked glass cases everywhere, razors behind security, cosmetics locked up tight. Even basic supplements now require an employee to unlock a cabinet. That familiar quick stop has turned into a waiting game. Walgreens was never about the lowest prices or the biggest selection. It was built on one powerful promise: convenience. Need something right now? It's right there on the corner. That model helped the company grow to more than 8,000 stores nationwide. But today, that promise is cracking under pressure. To fight organized retail theft, more and more products sit behind locks. A 2-minute errand now stretches into 10 minutes or longer. For a chain built on speed and ease, that change is deadly. Customers who once popped in and out are switching to online ordering or heading to Walmart. A business doesn't always lose customers in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it loses them one small inconvenience at a time. Walgreens has now announced plans to close roughly 1,200 stores over the next few years, nearly 15% of its entire footprint. For many older Americans, Walgreens isn't only about toothpaste, it's about reliable prescriptions and a familiar face behind the counter. When that disappears, it's not just a store that's gone, it's a piece of daily life. Number 11. Macy's. You can often tell a mall is struggling before you even check the financial reports. Just look at the parking lot on a Saturday afternoon. Look at how many walkways feel empty. And in many places, one of the clearest warning signs is when Macy's begins shrinking. For decades, Macy's was more than a department store. It was a destination: back-to-school shopping, Christmas gifts, first suits, anniversary outfits. It represented a certain kind of American retail experience that felt special. But today, many locations are disappearing as the company continues reducing its footprint. And that's when the story becomes bigger than Macy's itself. Department stores anchor entire shopping centers. When they leave, foot traffic drops, smaller shops struggle, and entire malls begin transforming into something unrecognizable. A brand can survive economic downturns, inflation, or changing fashions. What's much harder to survive is when it stops feeling like a destination people actively seek out. When a Macy's closes in your local mall, it often becomes the moment people realize the familiar shopping experience they grew up with is never truly coming back. Number 10. Big Lots. A family walks into Big Lots hoping to furnish a room without spending a fortune. A discounted sofa, a marked-down coffee table, a mattress priced lower than expected. That thrill of stretching your money further is what drew so many families here for years. But those bargain hunting days are fading fast. After filing for bankruptcy, hundreds of stores have already landed on closure lists, and the timing is especially ironic. Usually when the economy gets tougher, discount retailers thrive. This time feels different. Many of Big Lots' core customers are squeezed by rising rent, grocery prices, insurance, and monthly bills all at once. When money gets that tight, even a discounted sofa becomes a purchase you can postpone indefinitely. Big Lots depends on customers buying beyond basic necessities. A family may need groceries every week, but they don't need a new recliner every month. When shoppers start delaying those purchases, the impact becomes severe. For many communities, losing a Big Lots means losing a place where someone could walk in with limited cash and still feel like they could bring something meaningful home. Number 9. Joann. Picture a carefully folded blanket that became a family heirloom, a Halloween costume sewn by hand for a grandchild, a handmade gift that lasts for years. Many of those special creations started with a trip to Joann Fabrics. Unlike many retailers on this list, Joann wasn't built on low prices or speed. People came for something deeper: the chance to create. Whether it was a weekend crafting project or a hobby that brought joy during tough times, Joanne represented creativity you could hold in your hands. The irony is striking. DIY, videos, and handmade projects are more popular than ever on social media. Yet enjoying a hobby and spending money on supplies are two very different things. When grocery bills rise and everyday expenses increase, craft supplies are among the first things families cut. After filing for bankruptcy, Joanne began widespread closures across multiple states. For loyal customers, a Joanne closing isn't simply the loss of a store. It's the loss of one of the few remaining places where someone could walk in with an idea and turn it into something real with their own hands. And once those spaces disappear, they rarely return. Number 8. Family Dollar. You realize at 9 p.m. that you're completely out of toilet paper. Your kid needs a notebook for school tomorrow, the toothpaste tube is empty. These aren't major emergencies, but they're the small problems of everyday life that need quick solutions. And for millions of Americans in small towns or neighborhoods with limited options, Family Dollar has long been that solution. Not for luxury items. For the basics, shampoo, cereal, paper towels, cleaning supplies, things you need today, not next week. That focus helped Family Dollar grow to more than 8,000 stores, many in areas where the nearest Walmart is a long drive away. But today, hundreds of those locations have landed on closure lists. What feels hardest to replace isn't the specific products, it's the certainty. A 5-minute shopping trip becomes a 20-minute drive. In communities that already have fewer choices, that loss hits especially hard. Family Dollar never sold you on fancy experiences. What it really offered was reliability. The quiet comfort of knowing there was always a store nearby. Many people only fully appreciate that value after the familiar storefront goes dark. Number 7. Party City. A parent is planning their child's birthday party and heads to Party City like they've done for years, only to find the store gone. No relocating sign, no temporary closure, just an empty space where liquidation banners once hung. That moment has become far too common. For decades, Party City was the go-to destination for anything festive. Birthday supplies, Halloween costumes, graduation parties, baby showers. Unlike most retailers, Party City wasn't built around things people need. It was built around moments people want to remember. People are still celebrating birthdays. They're still decorating for holidays. Yet Party City filed for bankruptcy and closed hundreds of stores. The reasons are layered but revealing. A package of balloons can be ordered online. Decorations can come from Amazon. Party supplies can land in a shopping cart alongside dozens of unrelated items. Little by little, the advantage disappeared, not because of one catastrophic event, but because of thousands of small changes accumulating over years. That's the sharpest irony facing Party City. People didn't stop celebrating. They simply stopped needing Party City in order to celebrate. When customers stop viewing a brand as essential to the experience they want to create, even a beloved name tied to happy memories can quietly fade away. Number 6, Kohl's. A shopper spots a shirt on the rack marked 40% off. They pull out their phone, compare prices online in seconds, and quietly put the item back. No frustration, no complaint. They simply keep walking. That scene plays out repeatedly in Kohl's stores today and represents one of the most fundamental challenges in retail right now. For years, Kohl's didn't just sell clothing and home goods. It sold the exciting feeling of getting a great deal. Yellow clearance tags, 20% off coupons, Kohl's Cash. That perception of value kept people coming back week after week. But shopping has fundamentally changed. Every item now competes not just with the store down the street, but with every seller on the internet all at once. Most people leaving Kohl's aren't angry or upset. They're simply shifting habits. One purchase on Amazon, another at Target, another directly from a brand's website. Each small decision seems minor, but when millions of customers make those choices consistently, the cumulative effect is enormous. Kohl's finds itself on this list not because it has vanished overnight, but because more and more people are quietly asking themselves why they need to stop there at all. When a retailer loses its core reason for being in customers' routines, its future becomes very difficult to predict. Number 5, Rite Aid. Someone heads to their local Rite Aid to pick up a monthly prescription, only to find the doors locked and a notice taped to the glass. Prescriptions have been transferred to another location, often much farther away. What seems like a small inconvenience becomes a real burden when it involves essential medications you can't simply skip. Rite Aid once operated more than 2,000 stores. After bankruptcy and major restructuring, hundreds of locations have closed or been sold off. And here's what makes Rite Aid's story different from nearly every other retailer on this list. People don't visit a pharmacy because they want to. They go because they have to. For heart medication, diabetes supplies, blood pressure drugs, these aren't discretionary trips, they're necessities. When a Rite Aid closes, the impact ripples outward. Older customers face longer drives. Families must switch pharmacies and rebuild relationships with new staff. Prescriptions must be transferred. Insurance details must be re-entered. Entire routines built over years must be restructured almost overnight. Each individual change might seem manageable on paper, but across hundreds of communities simultaneously, it adds up to something much larger, the quiet erosion of places that once felt permanent. The disappearance of Rite Aid isn't measured only in store counts. It's measured in the number of people who suddenly realize a reliable part of their healthcare routine is simply gone. In an era where so much already feels uncertain, losing trusted local pharmacies makes everyday life feel a little less stable for millions of people who could least afford that disruption. Number 4, Best Buy. A customer spends nearly 15 minutes with a knowledgeable employee learning about the differences between two televisions. They nod, ask questions, say thank you, and then go home and order the exact same TV online for less. This pattern has become one of Best Buy's biggest challenges, and it's happening far more often than most people realize. People are still buying electronics. Technology remains central to modern life. The difference is where the final purchase happens. Best Buy used to be the place customers went to see and touch products before committing to a major purchase. Today, detailed reviews answer questions. Price comparison tools reveal the lowest cost in seconds. Many customers now complete most of their research before ever entering a store, and when they do visit, the store functions more as a showroom than a destination. That's a dangerous position for any physical retailer. Maintaining large stores comes with enormous fixed costs: employees, utilities, inventory, real estate. Those expenses don't disappear when customers choose to buy elsewhere. Best Buy remains one of the country's largest electronics retailers, and the company still attracts millions of visitors every year. But the environment around it keeps evolving at a pace that's difficult to match. The question isn't whether people have stopped wanting new gadgets. They clearly haven't. The question is whether physical electronics stores can remain as relevant as they once were, when virtually every purchase can now be researched, compared, and completed without ever leaving the couch. When an industry's core advantage begins fading, the future becomes much harder to forecast. Number 3, Dollar Tree. Someone walks into Dollar Tree with a $20 bill in their pocket. They don't need a calculator. They don't need to compare prices on their phone. They simply grab what they need and head to the checkout, already knowing roughly what it will cost. That sense of predictability is what made Dollar Tree such a beloved part of life for millions of families navigating tight budgets. It wasn't just that everything used to cost $1. It was the comfort of knowing exactly what to expect when you walked through those doors. In a world where prices seem to rise every week without warning, Dollar Tree offered something genuinely rare: certainty. But that feeling is changing. The classic $1 price point has shifted. Many items now carry $1.25, $3, or even $5 tags. The straightforward simplicity that built the brand's reputation has become less clear. Dollar Tree still operates thousands of stores nationwide, yet the company has announced plans to close hundreds of locations as part of restructuring. For many loyal shoppers, this isn't about the exact price of an item. It's about losing that rare feeling of budget control. Sometimes the most valuable thing a company sells isn't a product, it's confidence. And confidence, once lost, is surprisingly difficult to rebuild. Number 2, J.C. Penney. The escalators keep running, the lights stay bright, music still plays softly through the speakers. Yet many people who walk into a J.C. Penney today notice the same thing. It feels quieter than it used to. Not because closing time is near, but because the crowds that once filled the aisles have thinned out dramatically. For generations, J.C. Penney was woven into the fabric of American family life. Back-to-school shopping trips, Christmas gift hunting, picking out a first suit for a job interview, or spending a Saturday afternoon at the mall with family. It wasn't always the trendiest store, but it was reliable, accessible, and part of life's most important routines for countless households. After years of closures, restructuring, and a bankruptcy filing in 2020, it managed to survive. The footprint has shrunk significantly. People are still buying clothes. Those needs haven't disappeared. What has changed is the habit of going to the mall at all. More shopping happens on phones and laptops. Fewer families spend full afternoons browsing physical stores the way they once did. The clearest sign that a brand is slowly fading isn't always a locked door. Sometimes it's just the growing silence in spaces that used to be full of energy and conversation. Number 1, Dollar General. A customer walks into Dollar General with a mental list of 10 things the family needs. They leave with only 6. The other 4, a bag of favorite snacks, a scented candle, a small toy for a grandchild, a box of cookies everyone usually enjoys, stay on the shelf. They were looked at, considered, and then quietly put back. This scene repeats every single day in Dollar General stores across the country. And it's exactly why this retailer earns the top spot. Dollar General was built for small towns and rural communities where big box stores are often miles away. With more than 20,000 locations, it has become the most widespread retail chain in America. But the real story isn't the store count. It's what's happening inside shopping baskets. The company has openly acknowledged that customers are increasingly focused only on strict essentials: milk, toilet paper, soap. The little things that bring small moments of joy are frequently being left behind. That shift may seem minor, but it reveals something far deeper than any earnings report ever could. These aren't survival items people are skipping. They're the small pleasures that make life feel a little brighter after a hard week. A favorite snack, a small gift, a seasonal treat. When more and more households start putting those items back before reaching checkout, it stops being just about Dollar General. It becomes a quiet signal of broader financial pressure touching families everywhere. Dollar General's challenges reflect a changing reality for millions of Americans who once relied on it as more than just a store, but as a dependable part of making ends meet while still finding small reasons to enjoy life. And sometimes the clearest evidence of economic strain doesn't show up in major headlines. It shows up in the everyday choices people make in ordinary aisles when they pick up something small that would bring a little happiness and decide they simply can't justify it today. Looking back at all 12 retailers, from Walgreens and Macy's to Dollar General, the most powerful takeaway isn't any single bankruptcy filing or closure announcement. It's the increasingly familiar feeling of driving past a place you visited for years and realizing it's simply no longer there. A bright sign disappears, a parking lot empties out, a mall grows quieter. These changes usually happen slowly, almost invisibly, until one day you need something and discover everything has already shifted. These stores represented more than retail. They were part of daily routines, family traditions, community anchors, and small moments of convenience or joy for millions of people. Their potential disappearance speaks to larger forces reshaping American life: the rise of online shopping, persistent inflation, changing consumer habits, organized retail theft, and economic pressures that make even basic purchases feel different than they once did. Yet people are still shopping, they're still celebrating, creating, and trying to stretch their budgets. The question is simply where those activities will happen in the years ahead. As these familiar chains face uncertain futures, many communities are already feeling the effects. Longer drives for prescriptions, fewer options for affordable gifts, quieter malls, and the gradual loss of places that once felt permanent. Now it's your turn. Out of the 12 retailers we covered today, which one surprised you the most? Is there a store near where you live that has already closed, changed dramatically, or feels like it's hanging on by a thread? Share your story in the comments below. I read through many of them, and future video ideas often come directly from what you share. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next one.